Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of South Park, Wieners Out. And this was another great, solid episode of South Park. No joke kind of drug on or felt like it was out of place. It all kind of just flowed together pretty well. So, we start off with the people of Denmark kind of outlining the kind of mythology behind trolls and kind of what their tactics are going to try and be to bring out the online trolls. So then it starts going off to kind of show what kind of people are the trolls that they're kind of going after. We get to see all these different people, and we see the dude from the WoW episode, and that's pretty cool callback. So we get all that kind of sorted out. Then we kind of get into Butters and his kind of whole thing with the episode. He's talking with I'm gonna say his supposed girlfriend, because I don't know if she truly consented. Like, Butters concoct some shit in his head, but it seems like they actually kind of had a relationship because, well, she was in Canada, they were Skyping and everything, and she said that she's gotta stand with the women and the girls and continue with the breaking up of everyone that was going on with the girls' tactics. This, of course, produces pushback for Butters, and he's pissed off, and he starts kind of taking a role that is kind of cool to see, because Butters is usually the one that is acted upon by people with plans. It's kind of cool to see him evolve into a character that'll do his own plans, and he was tired of being bashed on because he was a boy and because all of them had tried to, in their minds, fix the situation. Now see, it goes into the fact that with a troll, you never know who actually it is, so the girl's doing it this way. It would seem like a pretty good tactic if the person was in the realm of influence that the tactic would work on, i.e. the boys in the school. But since it's someone outside of there, Kyle's dad, Gerald, of course it wouldn't have any effect on him. So, this produces the pushback on the boys in that they tried to do something and being punished, essentially, for trying to do what they thought was right, and then also putting back the blame of what they did to Cartman on the girls. It's like, oh god, what the hell's going on? And seeing Butters reference Kyle as Uncle Kyle was just like, oh my god, they went there. And it's like, I'm almost like, dude, I mean, yes, they've been in 4th grade for pretty much forever. I'm like, does he even understand the reference that he's talking about? But then again, this is Butters, and it just added to what was going on, because Kyle was trying to be the voice of reason and be like, listen, we can change, we can fix this situation, let's just try and de-escalate this and keep it going down and just get back to normal. We've got to just stop this craziness. And Butters is having none of it, and it's like, nope, we're doing this. And that's when we get to where Kyle had the idea to, let's go to the girls' volleyball game and show that we're supporting them. So they do, and he's like, oh, this is great. Everybody's like, here, this will work out. And then Butters starts his kind of protest during the national anthem, where he drops his pants and is like protesting with his penis, like, Wieners out. I'm proud to be a boy. And it's like, oh god. And of course, this promotes the reaction from the girls being like, this is wrong. And what are they protesting for? And then going into seeing the PC principal being like, I'm in a situation where I'm in a no-win situation, where if I stop them from protesting, I'm essentially body-shaming them, and I really can't do that. He's like, I'm in a PC pretzel here, girls. And it's like, yeah. And they're, of course, pissed, so that's going to escalate them to do something even probably more severe. But see, the thing is, when's it going to stop, or when's it going to get to a point where it's going to be an all-out war? Because we've had boys versus girl kind of wars before, and they usually turned out kind of nasty. Now this, having been like doing more serialized with like the seasons and everything, actually building upon each other, we could build up to a pretty interesting kind of war front throughout the school if this goes in a right trajectory. So while that's going on, we've also got Kyle's dad kind of dealing with the repercussions of going Protocol Zero and figuring out who sent that note. So he goes under, of course, a bridge to meet another troll. He didn't know it was a troll at the time, who goes by the name of Dildo Schwaggins, of course. So he's talking about how someone is hunting trolls and that we've got to watch each other's backs and all that. And he's like, no, I'm not a troll. I went Protocol Zero. I destroyed everything. And he's like praising him on what he's done, but he's like, no, I was just trying to mess with people. And it's like, yeah, but that's the issue here. Yes, trolling, of course, is just sometimes starts out with trying to mess with people who you think are being stupid. But then it gets to a point where you're actively hunting for the negativity and wanting that negative reaction, which is what we see in kind of Gerald's journey throughout this episode, because he stops doing all that stuff and he starts getting angrier, and we start seeing him change his attitude to certain things, like getting cut off, getting honked at by people, and he's like, dang it! And of course, Dildo's trying to get him to come back into the fold and trying to help the trolls survive whatever is coming. And of course, Gerald tries to go to a support group, and it turns out it's actually a support group for member berries. And that was kind of funny to see that Randy's the head of them, and he's like sitting there. He's like, alright, do you have member berries? Nope. And then Gerald kind of unleashes his vitriol on one of the people in the group. So like, I think I'm in the wrong place, and bolts out. And of course, his wife had bought him an iPad to kind of make up for the computer and all that. And he's like, no, give it. And seeing him kind of like transforming and all that stuff. And then she catches him in the middle of the night. He's like hissing at her, and she's like, "This is weird." And it's funny because his default thing is it's porn, and then it's like then he has to keep thinking crazy porn, piss porn, and she's like, "Oh, you like to watch other ladies do it? I mean, I'd do it." And it's like gets him into pretty much this no-win scenario, and then she, of course, pees on him, and he's like, oh God. He's kind of disgusted, and of course, while they're doing this, in the bedroom in the middle of the night, Ike is there just staring, almost like, oh God. And then the funniest thing is, when Kyle comes up, I'm like, what the hell are you looking at, Ike? And then he looks in and he's like, oh God. And then that's pretty much kind of where that kind of thing ends. And then we get to see more of the reaction with Wieners out going. They're marching through the school. Butters is talking about his slogans and everything, that we should have the right to think with our wieners and all that. And it's just like, oh God, how bad is this repercussions going to be? And then that sets Kyle off to searching for Cartman. And then we get the kind of surprise, and I was really excited for this because we see him try and lure Cartman back into the, do his schemes and everything to try and get Butters to stop the aggression and everything, the aggro as he was talking about. And we see that Cartman is girlfriends with Heidi. And it's like, oh God, he's kind of mellowed and kind of centered. And even though it's kind of weird that way that it took a relationship, he's not really angry or anything. I mean, he's still fighting for his causes and all that. And he's talking to Kyle about that. And it was kind of cool to see him try and get him to come back in. And Cartman kind of misconstruing what he was talking about with Heidi. And he even talked about how Heidi did show him her vagina when it was like 6 feet away. And he's like, I saw people colonizing Mars. And it's like, yeah. Of course, Cartman taking it to his weird, interesting levels. But it was cool to see this effect on him as a character. Then when we get to see that just leaves Kyle in a kind of way that he's not really used to. We see him talking also to his dad after that, seeing that Cartman's not really going to do anything, at least at the moment, because something's going to push him. And he's always thinking of things, always planning. We'll have to see kind of what he's going to be doing, because at the moment he seems good at where he's at. But of course, Cartman always does whatever Cartman wants. So Kyle's talking to his dad and he's like, I feel ashamed and kind of guilty, and how do I not feel this way? And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then he runs. And that just leaves Kyle into his own thought process and trying to almost kind of balance out being the Cartman to try and figure out the plan, but keeping the decency of Kyle to make sure that he doesn't go Scott Tenorman on somebody. You know what I mean? So that kind of ends with Kyle joining the Wieners out kind of thing, and the girls kind of getting even ticked off even more because Kyle is usually the voice of reason within the male student body. So if it's gotten to this point, we're probably going to get close to an all-out war, depending upon how the girls retaliate. So that's kind of where that's left off. And then the main ending takeaway that we get is that the people of Denmark have created this way to even go back and find posts for trolls and find out who they are. So that's going to be a big thing. And it was even funny because the reporter who was interviewing him was like, but how do you stop them from doing it to anybody? And he's like, oh, it's just for trolls. And it's like, how do you stop that though? And you've created this giant thing that could find anybody from a mean comment and pretty much attack them. But that's going to give them a pretty powerful weapon to go after the trolls. So then we see that the trolls are gathering together to try and save themselves, and seeing Dildo take Gerald into there, who they all know who he is. They've liked his work, and they're trying to formulate a plan to survive whatever repercussions are going to come from the Danes. And it's like, okay, this is going to be pretty cool. So I'm really excited and very intrigued to see where all these arcs are going to be going, because even though they do them kind of last minute in certain respects for episodes, they're weaving some interesting threads that could just lead to really cool character arcs and really wacky situations that could be going. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.